Good morning, Wright State University, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU. Start your day the right way with us. We will be covering current events in the news, local, national, and from Wright State. We will provide a daily dose of inspiration and positivity to lighten your day. And we will have a special feature depending on the day of the week. So grab your tea or your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Wright Morning Show. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. It is Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. Joined through Discord is Laughing Chipmunk. How are you doing this morning?
Hi, I'm fine, but I want to know what ungodly kind of music that was playing right before your show started.
Apparently it was called More by Cowboys and Frenchmen.
Because it's like, as soon as you signed on and, I started hearing the sound from the studio, all I heard was this clarinet or whatever it was, a horn or something going.
I think it was some sort of jazz track or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
What on earth? Do I have the right station?
Sometimes,
do I have the right Discord thing?
Yeah, sometimes jazz does that. The notes of jazz instruments sometimes are all over the place.
Oh, tell me about it. It was all over the place.
Anyway.
How funny. Anyway.
Let's get started with your current events of the day. We're going to start with local news, and then we're going to get into national news. But first, local news from WHIO. A woman was killed and 2 injured in a multi-car crash in Dayton. A woman was killed in a 3-car crash on North Gettysburg Avenue in Dayton Monday evening. Sergeant Thomas Schloss of the Dayton Police Department said that the crash happened near 2200 North Gettysburg Avenue at approximately 6:36 p.m. All cars involved were occupied by one person each. Schloss said that an adult woman was pronounced dead on the scene. 2 adult males were transported to area hospitals in stable condition. Police had the area blocked off while they remained on scene. The crash is still under investigation, and WHIO, I'm sure, will be updating their article as they learn more. From Dayton Daily News, Dayton mayoral commission candidates share the stage during candidate forum. You can read about what happened there at DaytonDailyNews.com. Dayton.com, here is a reminder that the Best of Dayton event is still going on and that nominations are still open. So if there's a local business in the Dayton area that you really admire, or several local businesses, be sure to nominate them for the Best of Dayton. The categories have been announced. The categories are going to include the best pizza restaurant, the best bakery, the best burger, best donuts, Bills, best local celebrity, friendliest restaurant and bar staff, best breakfast, best local photographer, best Mexican food, best bartender, best local brewery, best square cut pizza, best ice cream, best local band or musician, best hidden gem restaurant, best food truck, best wings, best Italian restaurant, best craft beer bar, and best fine dining. There's a link to open the nomination page at Dayton.com, explore the contest that you want to nominate for, and enter your nomination. Nominations are open until October 4th, and then voting begins on October 18th through November 8th. Winners will be announced December 12th. And when I nominate
Bill's Donuts.
Yeah, I was going to say On the note of Bill's Donuts, the views and opinions of the Wright Morning Show do not reflect the views and opinions of WWSU Radio, Wright State University, nor their entities. But I will say, I think Bill's Donuts is one of the best donut shots, possibly in the United States.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The only sad part is how little parking spaces they have.
Oh, I know.
Continuing on, $2.1 million energy project is set for downtown Dayton building. From DaytonDailyNews.com, you can read more about that. Also, Dayton Business Journal has a report about 31,000 open jobs in the Dayton region. They talk about who's hiring the most. You can read about that. It is a subscription-based service. From WHIO, travel trailer was destroyed after a fire in Dayton this morning. The fire started around 3 a.m. on McKinley Street behind a home, according to Dayton District's Fire Chief Dave Wright. When firefighters arrived, the travel trailer was engulfed in flames. Crews were putting out hot spots and making sure that no one was hurt in the fire. Investigators are still working to learn what caused the fire to start. From the Dayton Business Journal, Malt Products Corporation is giving every Dayton employee a $10 per hour raise. Ooh, that's a big raise there. You could read more about that in the Dayton Business Journal. From WDTN, J.T. Klein Awards accepting nominations for Dayton employees. The annual Joseph T. Klein Awards are now accepting nominations to honor City of Dayton employees for excellence in public service. The awards, named for civic volunteer Joseph T. Klein, recognize employees who demonstrate extraordinary dedication in their work and involvement in the community, the Dayton City Manager's Office said. According to the Dayton City Manager's Office, nominees must be current full-time or permanent part-time employees who have worked for the City of Dayton for at least 2 years. Award winners will be chosen by a selection committee made up of representatives from the Dayton Foundation and the City of Dayton, a community volunteer, and prior winners. The City Manager's Office said that honorees will receive a cash award from an endowment by the Klein family through the Dayton Foundation. Nominations must be received by 5 p.m. on Friday, October 22nd, and can be submitted online or in the main lobby of City Hall at 101 West 3rd Street. There is a link to submit a nomination at WDTN.com. Dayton Daily News says that voters are to hear from Dayton and Harrison and Jefferson Township candidates as well. You can read about that from Dayton Daily News. The Dayton Business Journal has an article about Dayton entrepreneur who added co-working and business education events to an Oregon District location. So be sure to check that article out. From Dayton.com, a Dayton native finishes a grueling solo bike ride across 10 states. A Dayton native and graduate of Fairmont High School completed one of the most challenging established bicycle trails in the country. On July 24th, Gillian Garland, a recent graduate of Ohio University, finished an 85-day solo bike ride across 10 states on the Transamerica Bicycle Trail. Since 1976, cyclists of all skill levels have enjoyed the incredible scenery and overall challenge of the Transamerica Bicycle Trail, which spans from Yorktown, Virginia to Astoria, Oregon. The trail consists of over 4,200 miles of varied terrain throughout the Appalachians, Ozarks, Rocky Mountains, and more. Garland began her 85-day trek on May 1st in Yorktown, Virginia, and arrived in Astoria, Oregon on July 24th. You could read about her journey by going to Dayton.com. So that is an incredible accomplishment there. 4,200 miles in just a couple of months. From mostmetro.com, words for wags, be a part of the story. Oh, in fact, that story is not found according to my web browser. That's unfortunate.
Oh, jeez.
Got a 404 not found when trying to load that article. From Dayton Daily News, single tickets to see Hamilton at Schuster Center are to go on sale starting October 5th, so be sure to grab your tickets. From the Dayton Business Journal, Kelly Miller, MD, conducts cancer research in the Dayton area. You could check out the progress of that at the Dayton Business Journal. From WDTN, they also have an article about Best of Dayton voting. We're not going to cover that since we already covered it from Dayton.com. But from WHIO, a 5-year-old girl was hospitalized after being hit by a car in a Dayton intersection on Sunday. She was taken to an area hospital by a personal vehicle, according to dispatch records and Dayton Police crash report. The crash was reported at the intersection of North Gettysburg Avenue and Hoover Avenue around 3:45 p.m. Sunday. The child suffered suspected minor injuries in the crash and was taken to Dayton Children's Hospital for treatment, according to the police crash report. The report shows the child was in a marked crosswalk when she was hit. The driver of the car was not hurt in the crash. It was unknown if they are facing any charges or citations. Dayton Daily News talks about a company that is relocating corporate headquarters and 99 jobs from Moraine. Dayton Business Journal talks about a Rancho Grande Mexican restaurant to open at former La Rosa's Pizzeria location in Inglewood. WDTN, transform your looks in minutes with Plexiderm. Is this a sponsored article? Yep, that's a sponsored article. We're going to skip that. I knew right when I read that headline that it was a sponsored article.
Yeah.
Continuing on, we are not sponsored by Plexiderm here at WWSU Radio. Dayton.com,
Yeah.
acclaimed violinist headlines DPO season opener saluting heroes. The Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra opens its 2021-2022 Masterwork series with a Beethoven's Eroica, a salute to heroes. I almost read that as erotica. I apologize for that. This Beethoven's Eroica is Friday, October 1st and Saturday, October 2nd at the Schuster Center. The evening's theme centers on the heroes of the pandemic, the first responders, medical personnel, delivery drivers, and all those whose jobs carried great risk. Local composer Austin Jacques, a Cedarville University music professor, has created a new work titled Heldenleben 2020, or Heroic Life 2020. The piece has two themes, each representing heroism, which is the foundation of the work. The first is a quotation from the work's titular inspiration. Ein Heldenlab. I'm German. I should be able to say this. Ein Heldenleben. Ein Heldenleben. We'll be here all day if I keep trying. And represents ancient heroes. The second reflects modern heroes, musically driven with both pulsating and restrained sensibilities. You can read more about this performance that is coming up at Dayton.com. We are going to now go to your local weather forecast here at Wright State University. The current weather, according to tomorrow.io, is clear and 65 degrees. It is a nice morning outside. Got the sun shining and everything. And we got Laughing Chipmunk's phone vibrating.
Yeah, it's my ring cam. I forgot to snooze the cams. Hold on.
The wind is coming from the west-southwest at 8 miles per hour, which is a little bit calmer compared to yesterday. It was pretty breezy yesterday. The humidity is 78%, the dew point is 59, the visibility is good, and the air quality is moderate. Your weather forecast from the National Weather Service at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Today, mostly sunny, high around 80. I did want to mention that we had some unexpected thunderstorms last night here in the Dayton area. The forecast did not really call for thunderstorms last night, but we had a few pop up. It was pretty interesting. Tonight, mostly clear, low around 50, so it's going to be a cooler night tonight. So we had lows in the mid-60s last night, but we had a little bit of a cold front come through, so we're going to have a chillier night tonight. Wednesday, sunny, high in the upper 70s. Wednesday night, clear, low around 50. Thursday, sunny, high in the upper 70s. Thursday night, mostly clear, low around 50. Friday, sunny, high in the mid 70s. Friday night, partly cloudy, low around 50. And then finally, Saturday, mostly sunny, high in the upper 70s. Gonna be a nice, dry, and cool week this week. Now we go on to global and national news. First off, we start off with the New York Times Morning Edition. 9 years ago, this is an article from High School and Beyond. 9 years ago, my colleague Andrea Elliott set out to report a series of stories about what it was like to be a homeless child in New York City. As part of her reporting, she soon met a girl in Brooklyn named Dasani, a spunky 11-year-old with big dreams and no home, so Andrea has described her. The 5-part series that the Times published in 2013 turned Dasani into a public figure. Readers donated money to help her. Bill de Blasio, the incoming mayor who promised to reduce income inequality, said, we can't let children of the city take Dasani down. At the 2014 inauguration for de Blasio and other top officials, Dasani held the Bible for Latita James, the new public advocate who called Dasani my new BFF. This morning, the Times Magazine has published a news story by Andrea that follows Dasani in the years since the spotlight left her. It makes for gripping and at times difficult reading. Much of it is set in the Milton Hershey School, a tuition-free school in Pennsylvania, which the chocolate magnate found in 1909 to educate poor children. Part of the school's guiding philosophy is that its students must largely separate themselves from their family to escape poverty, and Dasani struggles with this miserable dilemma. She alternates between excelling and struggling at school while her mother and siblings back in New York cope with new setbacks of their own. I felt like I did something wrong, Dasani said about leaving home. At night, she misses sleeping in the same bed as her toddler sister. The story ends in the present day, on a worse note than I had hoped as I was reading it, and a better one that I had feared. It offers no tidy policy situations, yet it is as relevant today as Andrea's series was in 2013. Once again, New York is about to have a new mayor, and the person likely to have the job is vowing to address the enduring problem of homelessness in one of the world's wealthiest cities. My big question is, will it happen? So we'll see what happens when they get the new mayor. Other news from the New York Times. Regarding the virus, the share of Hispanic adults in the United States who have received a vaccine surged in recent months to 73% and now exceeds the vaccinated share of white adults, according to a Kaiser Family Foundation poll. The share of Black Americans who are vaccinated had also risen significantly to 70%. President Biden got a Pfizer booster shot on camera. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am over 65, he said. They are a small minority, but some healthcare workers would rather be fired than vaccinated. Oof. In politics, Senate Republicans blocked a bill that would avert a government shutdown and prevent the U.S. from defaulting on its debt. 2 Fed officials who came under fire for trading securities in 2020 will leave their posts. The Biden administration is moving to preserve the DACA program, which shields undocumented young adults from deportation. A federal judge agreed to free John Hinckley Jr., who shot Ronald Reagan in 1981. China allowed an American brother and sister to return home after 3 years. Their release coincides with the U.S. deal letting a Huawei executive back into China. Other stories. A jury convicted R. Kelly of recruiting women and girls for sex over decades. He will probably face a long prison sentence. In a bet on electric vehicles, Ford plans to build 3 battery factories and an electric truck plant in the United States. Schools around the United States are offering less healthy lunches as they face shortages. The Taliban banned women from working or studying at Kabul University. Oof. Facebook delayed Instagram Kids, meant for children under 14, ahead of a congressional hearing on the platform's effects on mental health. Hakuho, the most accomplished sumo wrestler in history, is retiring from the sport at 36. And now we go to Cheddar Need to Know. From NPR, the federal government is on the brink of shutting down after Senate Republicans blocked a bill that would have both funded the government and suspended the federal borrowing limit. Democrats say they'll try to pass that spending bill again before the Thursday deadline. In the House, Speaker Nancy Pelosi told her rank and file that they have to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill this week and not wait for the other bigger spending bill, as some progressives have demanded. That sets up a nail-biter vote on the infrastructure package, probably also coming on Thursday. From the New York Times, thousands of healthcare workers across New York State are at risk of imminently losing their jobs after the deadline passed for the state's vaccine mandate. Governor Kathy Hochul took executive action to allow for medically trained National Guard troops to fill in for those who have refused to get vaccinated. They could be fired today in one of the first big tests of state employer mandates. Meanwhile, a federal appeals court is allowing New York City's vaccine mandate for school employees to go forward next week. In Washington, both President Biden and Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell got their booster shots, with McConnell calling it an easy decision. From the Associated Press, R. Kelly was found guilty in his federal racketeering and sex trafficking trial. The disgraced R&B singer now faces the possibility of life in prison. Jurors took 2 days to return a guilty verdict on all counts, and a 6-week trial in Brooklyn in which 11 of Kelly's victims described a decades-long scheme of exploitation and abuse at the hands of one of the most popular artists in the country. He will be sentenced next May. This is my personal call out from me here at WWSU Radio to all other radio stations who might be listening in. Pull R. Kelly off the radio. He doesn't deserve the notoriety anymore. We did that a couple of years ago. I highly recommend, if you still have any R. Kelly music in your system, get it off the air. Do not promote a rapist. Continuing on from NPR, the Drug Enforcement Administration has issued its first public safety alert in 6 years on the subject of an alarming rise in fentanyl-laced fake prescription pills. The DEA has seized close to 10 million counterfeit pills so far this year, more than in the previous 2 years combined. 2 out of every 5 of those pills contained lethal amounts of fentanyl, which is much more powerful, cheaper to make, and easier to distribute than heroin. From Bloomberg, 2 top officials at the Federal Reserve are resigning after coming under scrutiny for stock market trades that they faced while the Fed was intervening to shore up financial markets last year. Robert Kaplan, head of the Dallas Fed, will leave his post next month. He reportedly bought and sold at least $1 million worth of individual stocks in 2020. The announcement came after Eric Rosengren, head of the Boston Fed, said he'd taken early retirement due to health issues. Rosengren was an active trader of real estate investment trusts while setting Fed policy on mortgage-backed securities. From Cheddar, Facebook says it is pausing development of an Instagram app specifically tailored for kids. Instagram head Adam Mosseri wrote in a statement that he thinks an app for children as young as 10 is still the right thing to do, but that the company wants time to work with parents, experts, policymakers, and regulators. The news of the halt follows a recent report that Facebook's own data found that the app had become toxic for teen girls. From Variety, Netflix has revealed some new viewership data that's more comprehensive than anything the streamer has released in the past. Co-CEO Ted Sarandos shared 2 slides at a conference, one showing how many viewers watched at least 2 minutes of a show or movie in its first 4 weeks of release, the metric that Netflix has previously used. The other slide showed total time spent watching a show or a movie in that same window, which is new. Season 1 of Bridgerton was the most watched show on both metrics, while Extraction and Bird Box were the most watched movies. Sarandos said the South Korean hit Squid Game is on track to be Netflix's most popular show ever. That's an interesting name for a show. From Watch, Saturday Night Live is losing one of its most familiar faces, but it's not the exodus many fans had feared. Beck Bennett is leaving the show after 8 seasons, along with newer cast member Lauren Holt. But Kate McKinnon, Pete Davidson, Celia Strong, and Adie Bryant and Kenan Thompson are all sticking around for at least another year, despite rumors they wouldn't be coming back. Saturday Night Live is also adding 3 new featured players for its 47th season: Aristotle Atari, Sarah Sherman, and James Austin Johnson, who is known for dead-on Trump impressions. That concludes the current events for today's edition of the Wright Morning Show. We're going to take a quick break, and while we come back, we're going to get into some positivity for the day. We're going to read off a couple of positive stories from Chicken Soup for the Soul. Then after that, it is Trivia Tuesday, and we have a pre-record with a couple of our directors at WWSU for this week's Trivia Tuesday. So everybody stick around. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
And now, your Wright State weather forecast. And we're back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM.
Welcome back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. We're going to get into some positive news stories, but first I want to turn over the mic to Laughing Chipmunk. Laughing Chipmunk, has anything crazy or funny or anything happened with your cats recently?
No, they're just being your typical cats, bouncing off the walls and being silly and making us laugh, and it's just, the usual.
I think we're going to go ahead and start with a cat story for today's segment. This is from Chicken Soup of the Soul, Cats to the Rescue by Vicky Burke. He was an inordinately shy 3rd grader and didn't make friends easily. I was, sorry. My teacher, Mr. Ducey, called my mother and explained that I hadn't spoken a single word in class and we were more than halfway through the school year. Even as a 3rd grader, I knew this was unusual. I watched with envy the uninhabited interaction of my classmates. Mom tried to excuse my behavior as something that I would outgrow, but Mr. Ducey would not be deterred. He asked Mom if I had something at home that I liked. He said he would arrange a show and tell for the class if I brought it to school. Playing right into Mr. Ducey's hands, Mom told him about my cat, who had a litter of kittens about 3 weeks earlier, and I was crazy about those kittens. Bingo. Mr. Ducey suggested I bring the kittens to school the next day. I suppose Mom was hoping to dissuade him when she explained that I would have to bring the mother cat along with the 6 kittens because they were too young to be separated from their mother. She probably thought this would put an end to the plan, but Mr. Ducey said that was fine. I normally walk to school, but my mother drove me the next morning along with a big brown cardboard box. I staggered toward the classroom under the heavy load. In no time, the chorus of kittens drew curious classmates to the mysterious box. Their eyes lit up in wonder when they caught sight of my tiny treasures. My little heart thumped against my chest as pride swelled within me. I never felt so important in my entire 9 years of life. Mr. Ducey instructed me to sit on the steps outside the classroom so everyone could get a good look inside the container. "Can I hold one?" a little girl squealed with excitement, and all the other children chimed in like a choir, begging to hold one of the kittens. "Yes," I said, "but only for a minute. It will make them sick if they're passed around too much. And the mama cat won't be happy when she realizes her babies are missing." Soon the school bell rang, but no one budged, not even Mr. Ducey. He allowed us to sit there until each student had a turn holding the kittens, and then he escorted me to the front of the classroom and waited for the students to sit down. When everyone was silent, he glanced my way, nodding his approval, and I began to tell the students about the 6 tiny felines and their mother. It never occurred to me that they were all staring at me, or I was talking in front of the class. The only things on my mind were the furry little friends. My heart swelled with pride and a newfound confidence that I could not have imagined before my sweet cats rescued me. For the rest of the day and the days that followed, I proudly sat among my classmates with a new sense of worth and importance. I never would have imagined the transformation a cat and her kittens could bring to a girl who most likely suffered from selective mutism, a disorder that would not be diagnosed in me for years to come. And that's the story. What do you think? I think that was a pretty
I
cute
thought
story.
that I thought that was cute.
Pets and animals have a profound impact on our lives, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
I know, I remember when you first got Miss Mew,
Oh yeah, little Miss Mew.
basically the queen of the castle, as you called her.
Well, I mean, she wasn't exactly a little kitten. She was still young. I think she was, just under a year old or not quite a year old yet, when she came along. But yeah, she was our very first one. And then remember when I took in Cleo
Yeah.
and her 5 kittens? And then, of course, we kept one of the kittens, and that was Meebles.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of them got adopted out. And then I took in Shadow, which I still have. And she had 2 kittens, Mortimer and Milton, which I still have. And I'll tell you what, it is so exciting and so cool to have little newborn kittens. I didn't see them being born, but I only found them like a day after they were born. But still, it's like these itty bitty little teeny weeny newborn kittens. It's so exciting. And you don't have to really do much of anything because mama does all the work and you're just there to babysit.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just so exciting. I love cats. I love kittens.
You got what, about 8 of them in your house right now? 8 or 9?
I have 6 officially adopted cats, and Mortimer and Shadow are still fosters.
Yeah.
But if I can't find a new home for them, then I really don't want to give them over to the Humane Society because people keep saying, "Oh, the Humane Society won't take them right now. They're overwhelmed." So I'm just we're just looking after them right now. We're taking care of them, so
Yeah.
they're happy.
All right. Let's get to another Chicken Soup for the Soul story. This one is called I Did It from Chicken Soup for the Preteen Soul, if I can talk today. Here's a quote from Paulo Coelho. Impossible is just an opinion. Now repeat after me, Mom said in a kind but demanding voice. I did it. She paused as she waited for me to obey her. When I tried to speak, the only thing that escaped my mouth was a small sob. With one strong, loving arm around me, my mom used the other hand to wipe the tears that I was no longer able to control. Being a 12-year-old girl is hard. Being a 12-year-old girl with dyslexia makes it even harder. It's okay, sweetie. I understand it's hard. You know that I struggle with the same issue, but it doesn't have to define who you are or how smart you are. I was standing in my mom's bedroom with my unfinished math homework in my hand, feeling like I was standing in front of a roadblock that was taller than my large imagination. I can't do it, Mom. I don't understand it. Although I couldn't see clearly through my teary eyes, I could still sense my mom's face was filled with concern. Can I see your homework, hon? As instructed, I slowly handed over the paper. After a short pause, she excitedly announced, You got the 5th question right. Shrugging my shoulders, I replied, Yeah, but the rest are probably wrong. Mom lifted my chin with a gentle hand and said, Just because you got some answers wrong doesn't make the answer you got right any less impressive. I wanted to believe her, and in moments when it was just her and me, it was almost easy to let her positive words affect me. But the confidence my mom gave me seemed to melt away when I was sitting next to kids my age and watching them complete work that I couldn't comprehend. As we stood in silence, she lightly held my shoulders and slowly turned me so I can see myself in the large mirror that leaned against her dresser. Tears still streaked my face, but my vision was clear enough to see Mom's reflection as she stood behind me, raising both her arms above her head in a champion pose. Now, sweetie, I want you to stand like this, look at yourself in the mirror, and repeat after me. I half-heartedly adopted her pose, and because I was not new to this drill, I didn't have to wait for her guidance before saying in an unconvinced tone, I did it. We both stood there, arms up in the air, staring at ourselves in the mirror. My mom took a moment to pause, and then, before I had time to drop my R's, she said, Okay, now I want you to say it like you mean it, like you truly believe that you accomplished something. I was about to explain that getting one answer right was not even an accomplishment, but then thought better, and in a more convincing yet apprehensive voice, I said, I did it. We dropped our stance, and my mom immediately took me into her arms in a tight protective embrace that reminded me I wasn't alone in the trials that we shared. Like so many times before, she held me close as my racing heart slowed and matched hers. With a reassuring hand on my shoulder, Mom said, Lucky for you, you have someone in your life who knows that your learning style is different. Ooh, excuse me. And different is a beautiful gift. You know that what I went through and still go through, the same hardships. But I know I'm competent, smart, and successful. And it's so important that my daughter knows how intelligent she is. Now let's take a look at your homework. Together, we looked through and completed it. Mom took the time to dissect the concepts so my brain could soak in the material that seems so easy for most people to get. After each problem we got right, we would high-five as if I had just mastered something big. Although I didn't know it, each little problem I got right was a huge victory. By celebrating them as such, it taught me how to take challenges one at a time and to treat each success, no matter how big or small, as a great accomplishment. Now, tomorrow when you are doing your math, I want you to take the problems one at a time and say, I did it after completing each one, okay? Okay, I'll try. I was feeling a little better about the situation and was ready to respect my mother's wishes, whether she was there to witness it or not. So the next day, I sat at my desk in front of my dreaded math test. I took a deep breath and blocked out every problem except the one at the top of my sheet. After spending what seemed like an eternity on it, I felt confident in my answer. Before I had a chance to celebrate, I couldn't help but notice the many questions that came after the one I had just spent so much time on. Instead of comparing myself to the people who were far ahead of my slow calculations, I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, I did it. Then I simply moved on to the next question, and the next one, and the next one, until eventually I had said I did it so many times that I couldn't help but believe that I had actually done something great. As I walked through the front door that night, I had a smile on my face. When Mom came to greet me with her usual hug, I raised my hands above my head in the champion's pose, and with a new, profound confidence, I announced I did it. My mom and I both exchanged excited high fives. Did I get all the questions on my math test right? No. Did I work as fast as the other kids in my age? No. But that wasn't the point. The point was that I not only did my best, but was able to congratulate myself for doing the best that I could do. Being a student is hard. Being a student with dyslexia makes it even harder. And after years of the same situation playing out, starting with tears and ending with a confidence boost from my mom, she has successfully instilled her I did it trick into everyday life. Whether I'm about to take a test, make a speech, or walk into an interview, thanks to my mom, I now hold the knowledge that I can do it. And that is the story. What did you think, Laughing Chipmunk?
Oh, I never had dyslexia or nothing, and I can only imagine, the difficulty that people with it go through. But I had trouble learning too, especially math. Math was my worst subject, and I mean, I hardly had any I did it moments, but I did have them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just you got to be proud of yourself, and even if you get an answer wrong, you just be proud that you at least did it. You tried. You
Yeah,
made an effort,
yeah,
and you did it. You made that effort.
yeah. Well, for time's sake, we have to get right into our Trivia Tuesday segment because this is a 20-minute pre-record. So we're going to go ahead and get into Trivia Tuesday. And welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. It is time for Trivia Tuesday. So this segment is pre-recorded, unfortunately, because Scotty works now at Cats in the morning on Tuesdays.
Yeah, sorry.
But
And class,
wanted to get him on because Trivia Tuesday was one of his favorite segments of the morning show. We also have our new marketing director, Anna, with us today. How are you doing, Anna?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. So let's get right into some trivia. Those of you who are listening, grab your friends, grab your family, head on over to the radio, gather around, and play some trivia. So today's theme from funtrivia.com is classic movies. It is topic mash time. This is a set of mixed questions from the classic movies category.
Pat, we all know how bad I do in trivia and it's classic movies. This is not going to go well.
This isn't going to go well for any of us, I don't think. We're all going to do terrible on this one. All right, so first question. Louis Jordan and Maurice Chevalier also possessed great charm. In what musical did they appear together? Is it Brigadoon, An American in Paris, South Pacific, or Gigi?
Wow, I know this one.
Louis Jordan and Maurice Chevalier also possessed great charm. In what musical did they appear together? Brigadoon, An American in Paris, South Pacific, or Gigi?
South Pacific.
I'm going to go with the same guess.
Yeah, I'll go South Pacific as well. Ooh, we were all wrong. It was Gigi.
Thank heaven for little girls. That's a quote that's would not suit well for modern times. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, we're starting off hot.
Next question. Lawrence of Arabia is a magnificent, sweeping epic. Who was the star? Alec Guinness, Richard Burton, Peter O'Toole, or Charlton Heston? Lawrence of Arabia is a magnificent, sweeping epic. Who was the star? Alec Guinness, Richard Burton, Peter O'Toole, or Charlton Heston?
Guinness beer, baby.
I'm going with Guinness as well for the same reason.
I'm going to go with Peter O'Toole because the last name sounds fun.
She's going to get it right. Calling it.
We're going to be O'Toole. Yep, she got it. The answer is Peter O'Toole. Really? Excellent actor. He learned with Burton and Beckett. He teamed with Burton and Beckett. Excuse me on that. I cannot read today. Next question. He starred in the first talkie, The Jazz Singer.
I feel like I should know this one.
Lon Chaney, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, Al Jolson. He starred in the first talkie, The Jazz Singer. Was it Lon Chaney, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, or Al Jolson?
The first option has to be right eventually. I'm going with Chaney.
I'm going with Charlie Chaplin because that's the only person I'm familiar with, but I don't know if it's the right answer. What do you think?
I'll spread out our options, and I'll go with Buster Keaton.
All right.
She's going to get it right again.
Yeah. Oh, we were all wrong. It was Al Jolson. This film was made in 1927 by the Warner Brothers. Talkies were thought to be a fad at first, but by the time the Oscars came around for that year's awards, talkies were all the rage and silent films became passe, however you say that. All right, number 4. The Spirit of St. Louis was, of course, about Charles Lindbergh, who played Lindy. Gary Cooper, Henry Fonda, James Stewart, or Paul Newman? The Spirit of St. Louis was, of course, about Charles Lindbergh, who played Lindy. Gary Cooper, Henry Fonda, James Stewart, or Paul Newman?
First one has to be right sometime. Gary Cooper.
What do you think?
I'm going to go with Paul Newman.
All right. I'm going to go with Newman as well. James Stewart. Stewart played the Lone Eagle. So far, Anna has 1, and the 2 of us have nothing.
Don't remind me, please.
Next question. Which movie starred Kirk Douglas rather than son Michael? The War of the Roses, A Chorus Line, The Vikings, or Black Rain? Which movie starred Kirk Douglas rather than son Michael? The War of the Roses, A Chorus Line, The Vikings, or Black Rain? I don't know why I want to say Black Pain when I look at that.
First one has to be right sometime. The War of the Roses.
I'm going with that one as well.
All right. As usual, I'm not going to go with that one. I'm going to go with The Vikings.
All right. Let's see what the answer is. She got it. It is The Vikings. It was an action movie for Kirk. Roses was a comedy. Rain was a cop movie, and Line was a musical.
I'm glad to see that my touch hasn't been messed with since over the summer. I haven't got any right, and that's about what it was over the summer, too.
Next one, number 6. Curtis helmed a filmic vehicle for a well-known singer in the late 1950s. Who was that? Patsy Cline, Chubby Checker, what a name, Elvis Presley, or Petula Clark? Curtis helmed a filmic vehicle for a well-known singer in the late 1950s. Who was that? Patsy Cline, Chubby Checker, Elvis Presley, or Petula Clark? I'm torn between Elvis Presley and Patsy Cline.
First one has to be right. It's Cline.
I'm going with Cline as well.
I am going to go with... Oh, just kidding.
Oof. Yeah, time is up. The answer was Elvis Presley.
I wanted to say it, but I'm not breaking my streak, okay?
I should have gone with Presley. Based on a Harold Robbins novel, King Corral was one of the better Elvis films and also starred Walter Matthau. The lead role was intended for James Dean, but Dean's fatal crash in his Porsche Spider meant that the King's draft was extended, and he was allowed to play the role before being conscripted. I almost said constipated. I cannot read at this angle. But wait, it gets weirder. Finian's Rainbow, the god-awful 1968 showcase for Brits Petula Clark and Tommy Steele, which somehow managed to mix Irish pots of gold and leprechauns with Deep South racism and civil rights demonstrations, was directed by none other than the Godfather himself, Francis Ford Coppola. Interesting. Question 7. This early Technicolor epic is one of the longer films in cinema, almost 4 hours. Frankly, I'm not surprised it won an Academy Award for Best Picture. Don't wait until another day to answer. Was it Gone with the Wind, Giant, All Quiet on the Western Front, or Hamlet? This early Technicolor epic is one of the longer films in cinema, almost 4 hours. I'm not surprised it won an Academy Award for Best Picture. Was it Gone with the Wind, Giant, All Quiet on the Western Front, or Hamlet?
Gone with the Wind,
Gone
number
with the
one,
Wind.
baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. But I can't remember if it's 4 hours long.
I'll go with the same this time.
All right. We all got it. Gone with the Wind. Sets of other movies were burned down for the Atlanta burning scene. The actors were composited in later, and since Vivian Leigh hadn't been cast as Scarlet at the time, a stunt person was used.
Told you I had to work eventually.
Question 8. Charlton Heston may be the most prolific actor of epic films. Of the following epic characters, which one was not played on film by Charlton Heston? Was it El Cid, Judah Ben-Hur, Jesus Christ, or Moses? Of the following epic characters, which one was not played on film by Charlton Heston? El Cid, Judah Ben-Hur, Jesus Christ, or Moses? Huh.
I'm going to go with Moses this time.
Jesus.
I'm going Jesus. Actually, I'll go Judah. I'll go Judah on this one. Oh, Scotty got
back.
this one.
There we go.
Other historical figures portrayed on film by Charlton Heston include Mark Antony, Buffalo Bill Cody, Andrew Jackson, John the Baptist, Michelangelo, Cardinal Richelieu, and Henry VIII. Heston was well known for partnering with both Cecil B. DeMille and William Wyler, two of the most accomplished epic film directors. Jesus Christ had been played on film by Jeffrey Hunter in King of Kings, Max von Sydow in The Greatest Story Ever Told, William Dafoe in The Last Temptation of Christ, and Jim Caviezel in The Passion of the Christ. Number 9. In The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, John Huston directed one of his relatives to an Oscar-winning performance. Who was it? His daughter, Angelica Huston, his son, Tony Huston, his father, Walter Huston, or his wife, Evelyn Keyes. In The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, John Huston directed one of his relatives to an Oscar-winning performance. Was it his daughter, Angelica Huston, his son, Tony Huston, his father, Walter Huston, or his wife, Evelyn Keyes?
I'm going to go with Angelica, just because it's that first option.
I'm going Walter on this one. What do you think,
I'm
Anna?
going with his wife.
Ooh, we got Walter Huston. So now I'm tied with you, Scotty, but Anna's still beating us.
I was anticipating that going into this. So.
Walter Huston won Best Supporting Actor. He, Humphrey Bogart, and Tim Holt play American prospectors looking for gold in the hills. Not only do they have to worry about bandits, they become paranoid that one of their group might try to steal all the gold for himself. Now the final question of this quiz. Peter Sellers only appeared in one film included in the first season of The Essentials, but he played 3 characters in it. Which 1964 Stanley Kubrick black comedy was it? A Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, Spartacus, or Dr. Strangelove? So Peter Sellers only appeared in one film included in the first season of The Essentials, but played 3 characters in it. Which 1964 Stanley Kubrick black comedy was it? A Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, Spartacus, or Dr. Strangelove?
Barry Lyndon.
I'm going with Dr. Strangelove.
I'm going Spartacus. Ooh, Anna got that one. It was Dr. Strangelove.
What
Besides,
did I tell you, Pat, before this? What did I tell you, boy? What the heck, man?
so Anna is the winner of that quiz. This has a very long description in it that I'm not going to read because it's going to take up 5 minutes of our segment. But, all right, so I'm going to leave it to us to pick the next quiz. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into, let's see here, the newest trivia quizzes. So which one of these would you like to do? So we got number one hits in 1965, part 3, Links the Word, 1990s ARIA Top 50 Albums, Chronology. Hello, here's the letter S. I'm kind of with you on that one. 2010's ARIA Top 50 Songs, Chronology, Volume 29, or Not Just an Olympian. What do you think, Scotty?
Let's go with S. Screw it.
All right, we're all going with S. So, S, the 19th letter of the English alphabet, is the basis of this quiz. All questions or answers in this quiz refer to people, places, and things beginning with the letter S. Here we go. If I can click the damn button. Which of these S American vice presidents had to resign from office on suspicion of irregularities? Spiro Agnew, James S. Sherman, Schuyler Colfax, or Adlai Stevenson I? Which of the S American vice presidents had to resign from office on suspicion of irregularities? Spiro Agnew, James S. Sherman, Schuyler Colfax, or Adlai Stevenson I? What do you think?
James Sherman, just because of Richard Sherman.
I'm going Sherman as well. What do you think, Anna?
I'll also go with Sherman.
Oh, we all got it wrong.
That's why you
Spiro
never listen
Agnew.
to me. You guys should know this. Come on.
Spiro Theodore Agnew was governor of Maryland from 1967 to 1969 and vice president of the United States from 69 to 73 under Richard Nixon, of course. He was charged with bribery and tax evasion irregularities during his tenure in the Maryland State Administration, some of which continued during his tenure as vice president. After a series of complaints to get rid of the charges, Spiro Agnew resigned on October 10th. He was replaced by Gerald Ford. Question 2. Which of these S rivers passes through these 3 beautiful European capitals? Ljubljana, Belgrade, or Zagreb? Is it Sava, Salween, Sutlej, or Syardarya? Which of these S rivers passes through these 3 beautiful European capitals? Ljubljana, Belgrade, or Zagreb? I don't know how you pronounce
I'm going
that.
with the last one.
Sava, Salween, Sutlej, or Syardarya?
I'll go with Salween.
I'll go with Sutlej. Who is Sava? What kind of quiz is this? I thought it would be
easiest one
easier
to
than this.
pronounce, of course.
Yeah.
Ljubljana, what is that? Salween, Sutlej, and Syardarya rivers are Asian rivers. The river Sava is one of the main tributaries of the river Danube and rises in the Julian Alps from the junction of 2 rivers in Radovica, Slovenia. It flows through this country, passing north of Ljubljana, through Croatia, where it passes through Zagreb, forms part of the border between Croatia and Bosnia, and Herzegovina, heading to Serbia, where it meets the Danube River in the capital Belgrade. What a mouthful.
Might need some water after that, bro.
Suriname is an overseas region in the Netherlands and South America. Is that true or false?
I got a 50-50 here.
Yeah. Is an overseas region in the Netherlands and South America.
I'm saying false. That's cap.
Is the Netherlands in South America? I don't know my geography that well.
I'm just going to go true.
Is an overseas region in the Netherlands.
Netherlands is like Europe.
Yeah, I'm going false on that one as well. I'm thinking I don't know. Yeah, it is false. Dutch Guyana was a colony of the Netherlands from 1667 until 1954, when Suriname became a constituent country of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. became the Republic of Suriname, one of the smallest countries in South America. Its capital and largest city is Paramaribo, which lies on the Suriname River, 15 kilometers from the Atlantic Ocean. All right, next question. In which of these S countries are there 5 stars on the flag? Ooh, Syria, Somalia, Singapore, or Senegal? So which of these S countries are there 5 stars on the flag? Syria, Somalia, Singapore, or Senegal?
Singapore.
What do you think, Anna?
I'm gonna go with Syria. Man, that's a long shot. I'm not sure.
I think there's stars on the Syrian flag, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm going Syria as well. I don't know.
I'm fairly confident in this one.
All right. Yep, Scotty's got it. Singapore was the answer. The Senegalese and Somali flags have 1 star. The Syrian flag has 2 stars, and the Singaporean flag has 5 stars. Question number 5. Which word represents the letter S in the NATO phonetic alphabet? Ooh. Saturn, sacrilege, Sierra, or Sienna? Which word represents the letter S in the NATO phonetic alphabet? Saturn, sacrilege, Sierra, or Sienna?
What's NATO?
It's used in the military. I believe it's Sierra.
It's Sierra, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that is. Okay, yeah, I know what it is. I just know it's military.
Yeah. What do you think, Ganna?
I'm going with the same thing.
All right, we got about 4 seconds for our listeners to lock in your guesses here.
I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
I feel stupid.
It's that, Alpha Bravo Charlie.
Yeah, I do that at my IT job all the time. Yeah, I know what it is.
It is Sierra. We all got it.
All right. Well, we have to unfortunately end the Trivia Tuesday segment here for time's sake. But everybody, thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Wright Morning Show on WWSU Radio. We're here every Tuesday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the station. Coming up next is Democracy Now! Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and have a great day. See you tomorrow.